What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or should I say boys and girls? Welcome to the M4 World Championship official Team Power Rankings, or the Team Tier List, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it Team Power Rankings here for the M4 World Championships by me, Mirko. If you guys don't know, I'm an MPL Indonesia caster, and I will be one of the talents, one of the casters for English in M4. So, without further ado, I think we all know how this is going to go. We've been here before. If you guys are new here, then technically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be rating every single team, putting them into one of the tiers here. We already have S, A, B, C, and a dark horse category as well. Now, we're going to go through all these teams, and I think we're just going to start from the first team we see right here, right? So, first team here, Onyx Esports. Obviously, by the way, guys, before we start, if you guys disagree with my opinion, it's completely fine. Hey, it's my opinion, right? We all are entitled to our own opinions. We all have our own opinions. We all have our own subjective likes and dislikes about teams' play styles and whether or not it's going to fit in this meta. I'm also going to tell you guys right now that this is based on the current meta, all right? We're not basing this off of just achievements, all right? If we're talking about just achievements in the past, then obviously blacklist number one, right? But we're talking about them right now, how I see them in this current patch, in this current meta, in the M4 meta, how they'll perform with the heroes currently and the strategies currently that are, meta. So there you go. We're gonna move to the first team, all right? So on esports. Now, honestly, looking at the patch currently, guys, you have to understand, if you guys haven't read the patch notes or if you guys haven't been playing the game, there have been a few changes. Now, I think the two most significant changes have been the flicker change, that now where now you can actually flicker when you use your movement ability. Previously, you need to wait for the animation of your movement ability. So say I'm playing a Beatrix. If I'm playing a Beatrix, usually when I use the dash, I have to wait for the dash animation to complete 100% to complete before I use the flicker. This time now, while you're mid dash, you can actually flicker, right? So this helps obviously with a lot of tanks such as Cho. And the next thing that's very vital, and I think this is the biggest change to MLBB, and we're seeing it here for M4, is the vision change, or the vision/sound change. I don't know how to describe it, but basically, in the previous patches, or when you guys used to play, if you haven't played in this new patch, you guys can put your map cursor onto anywhere where you don't have vision, and you can still hear the abilities being used, right? If you check a bush, you can just hover your map over to that bush, and if a Kufra is charging his Tyrant's Rage, you can hear it, right? Tyrant's Revenge, my bad. You could hear it. You could hear the charge. You could hear the Cho movements, his Jikundo. You can hear a lot of abilities, even if you don't have vision. Now, Moonton did a very good job, in my opinion, of erasing that. So now, if you look at a place where you don't have vision, you will not be able to hear any abilities, right? So, what I'm trying to say is, roamers who are really good at flashy heroes, at heroes who can set up, and just roamers who are really good in general, are going to pop off this tournament, and especially the flashy ones, with the Atlases, the Kufras, the Chos. So with this, let's talk about Onyx Esports, finally. I'm very sorry for ranting on and explaining, because again, I want you guys to understand what this meta, what has changed in this patch. But with Onyx Esports, honestly, I see them as still the strongest team in this tournament for the M4 World Championship. I think they have a solid roster. Let's talk about their coaches first. I think they have a solid coaching staff, and that's definitely the fundamental, right? If you want to have a good team, I do believe that you need to have a very good coaching staff, and I think Onyx Esports has that down to a T. Coach Mars, Coach Aldo, and Coach Jeb. These guys, the work that they can put in and the amount of things that they can implement in the drafts, the way they strategize, the way they use the team to rotate across the map, the different play styles that they have, the different roster swaps as well, that are all based on the coach's decisions, have been absolutely phenomenal. I feel like they have the best coaching staff in the world currently. And if you take a look at their roster as well, it's just adds on to that, right? We have Kyrie in the jungle, obviously the Filipino import, the MVP for the regular season and even the finals MVP in MPL Indonesia Season 10. Best jungler in the world, in my opinion. They also have the best gold laner in the world, in my opinion, CW, and one of the best roamers, if not the best roamer in the world, in Keyboy. They also have Sans, which is definitely top 3. I think it's just an all-star stacked lineup with Boots in the XP lane too. I don't see this team failing for the first time ever in the international tournament since I've started casting. They've always failed in an international tournament. Now, I think this is the roster and this is the coaching staff that gets it done. I think they are definitely the favorites to win. They are number 1 in my list for favorites to win, for S tier even. I would put them as a double S tier, you know? Let's make a new one. Let's add a row above, right? Let's add a row above and let's make it SS, okay? And I'll put on esports there because of how good they are. And I'll just tell you this, right? We're going through the teams. There's only going to be 2 at double S tier teams, including Onic. So look forward to that in the next few minutes. Next on the list, we got the Malaysian champions, Team Hawk. Ooh, Team Hawk. No. This is interesting, right? Because Team Hawk, I actually predicted them to win MPL Malaysia Season 10. I was doing a watch-along stream, and I actually said that Team Hawk is going to win against Todak. I really liked how they played. I really liked how they utilized the meta back in Season 10 in the Grand Finals up against Todak. But unfortunately, I do feel like Team Hawk are going to flop. I have a feeling. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Team Hawk is going to flop. I feel like Team Hawk with the current team roster, with the current composition, and just from hearing from some of the players about how the scrims have been going, Team Hawk hasn't been too impressive, right? I think in this meta, especially right now, it's going to be very difficult for this team to find their jam. You know, it's been crazy changes, crazy roster changes. Well, not roster, crazy meta changes the last few patches ever since MPLI. And even in MPLI, they definitely didn't have like a solid performance. I feel like they were very shaky at MPLI. And I think because of the crazy changes in the meta, that has only, hurt them. That has hurt them a lot. So I think I'm going to put them at B tier right here for the Malaysian champions, right? Love Min and Mun. I love the roster, but unfortunately, I feel like this team's going to flop in the World Championship. Next team on the list is going to be Todak, the team that has made it to the M World Championship 4 times. M1, M2, M3, and M4. Now, when we talk about this team, I swear to God, at this point, I am super tired of this team in a good way. Why do I say this? Because they are literally just the most random team. They look random. Obviously, it's not random. Obviously, it is a strategy that has been implemented by their coach, Zeman Amox, but they're so random. And as a caster, especially when you have like a full document on every single team, when you have like notes of this team, you try to talk about this team, and then they just go for something crazy, and then they just swap their entire roster, right? In MPL Malaysia playoffs, grand finals, Chiku was playing mid, Momo was playing in gold lane. Then in MPLI, we saw Chiku in the gold lane. Then in ISF, we saw Chiku back in the jungle. And this randomness from this team can be a curveball, again, to every single team. And I think they're always going to be a scary team to face off against in any tournament, right? In an international tournament, domestic tournament, any tournament, you just don't want to face Todak because of their unpredictability. So I think for Todak especially here, if you take a look at the roster, Moon, Formaze, Momo, Chiku, Yums, their entire roster, they have experience. They're a very experienced team. So with that experience and knowing that now they're probably in their most, talking about the meta shifts right now, the meta is the most flexible meta, I believe, for almost every role, right? There's so many heroes being played in every single role, and I love it. It's very interesting, especially in the drafts. And when we're talking about drafts, 2 teams come into mind instantly, right? Onic, Todak. I think Todak are going to be a scary team this tournament. I think they are going to be a scary team in this tournament. So I think I'm going to put them I wouldn't say S though. I would put them at A. I would put them at A. I would put them at A tier. Next on the board is RRQ Akira. Okay, we got two of the RRQs here. We'll start with Akira, which is their Brazilian RRQ. Now, this is a team who has literally dominated their domestic league, right? MPL Brazil was absolutely dominated. Akira did not lose a single match. Sure, they did lose a few games, but they did not lose a single match. In all the best of threes, they've been able to conquer. And a lot of people have been discrediting them, saying that, they were able to do this because RQ Akira, they're in a farmers league, or they're in a league where there's not a lot of competition in this league, right? I used to think the same. Early on when they started dominating, I thought that way too. But after watching a few of their games, especially the games in the playoffs, you could really see the brilliance in this team, and you could really see the mechanical and even the macro prowess that this team has in their hands. I think if I were to choose from all their members, the member that I would highlight from this team has to be Luis, man. I think the roamer is Luis. He's a very flashy roamer as well. He really likes to play those flashy roamers. And like I said, those flashy roamers are going to pop off. I think Luis is going to have a good tournament this time around, especially considering he also has that experience. If you guys don't know, he played back in M3 as well, but he was a gold laner for Cade. RQ Akira definitely... with their boot camp as well in Indonesia. They've been here for almost a month, I feel like. They're definitely working together with RQ Hoshi to improve, and I think that really has helped them. And I will put RQ Akira in A tier. I'll put them in A tier. I'll put them, I don't know, above Todak? We'll think about that later, but definitely A tier team. Definitely not a team that you guys can, write off. Next on the list, we have RQ Hoshi. Now, RQ Hoshi. Ooh. Man, RQ Hoshi, unfortunately, if we take a look at it, I don't think I've been really impressed with them so far, since Season 10, right? I love the team. Obviously, they still have solid members, a lot of veterans in their team, and even their rookie player or their newest members here on the team, which is Albert and Skylar, they've had experience already, right? They went to M3 and they went all the way to the grand finals of MSC. They're definitely skilled players, and I think this meta really suits them. A lot of the assassins have been buffed. A lot of the not buffed, but a lot of the assassins are now meta again, and that just suits right in for Albert. Skylar as well in the gold lane. A lot of emphasis now on the gold lane, which is going to be massive for Skylar. I think R7 is still in peak form. Definitely one of the strongest XP laners in the world. And obviously their shot caller, Vin. Thing is, with the changes, again, with the roamers being so important and their picks, their hero pool is going to be tested 100% because of how flexible the meta is. I think Vin is definitely going to suffer a bit, right? Because we haven't seen a lot from them. And from this team as well, I don't know if it's just me. I think you guys agree as well, but we haven't seen RQ's best in quite a while now. Season 10, they fell flat in the grand finals. They were able to make it to, again, 4 M series in a row. And in Piala President, they were knocked out by Bigatron Beta, which is the MDL team. They didn't qualify to ISF. I think there's been a lot of disappointment. For RQ, I do believe that in M4, they will perform better than they did in Piala President and even better than they performed in Season 10. But I don't think it's going to be enough to put them as a favorite to win. I will put them as an A-tier team, the highest A-tier team right now, because I feel like this team still has so much potential. If Coach Arcadia and Coach Achil can really work around the mistakes, if they can cover up those mistakes, I think RQ Akira or RQ Hoshi can definitely win this tournament. It can definitely go to S tier. But for now, I'm going to have to put them objectively at A tier. Next team on the board is going to be RSGSG. And RSGSG, even though they are the champions, they are the Singaporean champions, they were pretty dominant, honestly, in the regular season. They were able to beat Team Slate as well in the grand finals. Diablo, Bray, Baby Cakes. Those are the three members with Lolzy. I think the standout for me has to be Lolzy, though. It's Lolzy and Baby Cakes for the most part, you know, because if we take a look at RSGSG, especially in their performances in most of their tournaments and most of their team fights have been around, well, Lolzy to open up and obviously Baby Cakes. Baby Cakes is the main carry in this team, man. And I think with this style, it is still a bit too one-dimensional for me. I really like the players. They're all really cool. But for RSGSG, I feel like right now I'm going to have to put them at like high B tier, man. Like the highest B tier right now. I want to put them like right here. They can definitely fit there. Lowest A tier or highest B tier. Right now we'll put RSGSG on the B tier. For now, we'll see how they do later on. Again, this is just my tier list before the event starts. I'm making this super late, by the way. It's like a few days away from M4 because I want to get used to the meta. I want to see what's meta, what can work, what doesn't, to really have a better or a more valid opinion on all these teams, right? Next team is going to be Falcon Esports from Myanmar. Now, honestly, Falcon Esports, this team has come a long way. And MSC, it still feels like they were the dark horse, right? A lot of teams still didn't know what they were capable of. A lot of teams didn't know how they even played. And I think in MSC, in all honesty, it was their weakest version. It was the weakest version of Falcon Esports, right? It was a Falcon Esports that was not really full potential. Why? I'm saying this is because I think Ken, their jungler, he's a very talented mechanical player. When he gets these assassin picks, he literally just styles on the opponents, right? I've seen a lot of games from the M4 qualifiers in Myanmar as well. When he picks up the Fanny, when he picks up anything mechanical, he's very similar to a Kyrie, an Albert, a Carl Teasy, right? And right now with the meta shaping up to be, you know, an open meta, a flexible meta where you can play these assassins, especially if you want to play around that gold lane, Falcon's going to pop off. Obviously, the standout in MSC was Justin and Naomi with Silent. And I think right here, you still have those core members, right? You still have Silent. You still have Justin and Naomi. You also have such a solid XP laner in Yellow Flash. And this team, with now the addition of Ken being able to go in and utilize his maximum potential on those assassins, I think they're going to be an S tier. I think they're the favorites to win. Every single time we talk about Myanmar, we always say, oh, Falcon's going to be the dark horse. Oh, Myanmar's going to be the dark horse. But this tournament, M4, I do believe that Falcon deserves to be on S tier. I do believe that Falcon can be a very good team. We'll see, yeah? Next, we're going to move on over to the Valley. Ooh, the Valley. Okay, the Valley. Mobazane and Fried Chicken. Hoon. They also have Shark. Okay, let's talk about this team. Still no coach, no analyst. It's just them, 5 of them. No substitutions as well. You know, they've been really busy, to be honest, right? They've been really busy in scrims. They've been really busy since they got here to Jakarta. They got here, I think, one of the earliest teams to arrive to Jakarta. In Jakarta, they are really tryharding to. They're working hard. That's what I've got to say, right? And I think the main concern from this team is definitely the stage. How are they going to perform on stage? That's my main concern, right? Because for Mobazane, for Fwide, for Shark, I have no doubts about them. Mobazane, again, with this kind of meta, I feel like it really suits him. We are seeing Granger back as well around the jungle. We've also seen that, again, Fried Chicken has just been dominating in that XP lane, especially in NA. I think those 3 members, there's no doubt about their skill anymore, right? We doubted them back in M3, but now, definitely no doubt. The question now lies on Hoon and Basic. How does Hoon play? How does Basic play? To be completely honest with you, I think that's those are the weak points of the team right now. I think it's definitely either Hoon or Basic. I'm leaning more towards Basic. No offense. It's just, I don't know. We'll have to see how Basic performs on stage because in NA, the NA M4 qualifiers, I think I was least amazed or least surprised by Basic's performance in the gold lane. I feel like he's well, I don't mean to use his name, but you know, he's been a very basic gold laner. He's a very solid gold laner, but nothing too flashy. We'll see how he performs at M4. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he pops off because, you know, the whole BTK team last year proved all of us wrong. After all of us have literally wrote them off. I still do think though that the Valley is a strong team. They're definitely going to be up there in the standings. I will put them right here though. I will put them maybe right here actually. I think I would put them above Todak because for me Todak is still a bit more too coin flippy, man. Way too coin flippy. Even when they're winning, right? You never know when they can go for a fight and they can just give the game over to the enemy team. So I think just based on Valley's solid playstyle, I will put Valley here. Next on the list, S11 Gaming from Argentina, the team that has the second most votes. That's crazy, dude. Second most votes. Holy. In the M4 pass. Yeah. So we'll see. For S11 Gaming, Argentina. I saw them play at ISF. I had the pleasure to cast them actually at ISF. Where should I put S11 Gaming? They're also a very like snowbally team. It feels like if they get the snowball rolling from the start, from the get-go, they will find a lot of success. But if they don't, they lose and they fall short, right? And because of that, I feel like they're a bit too one-dimensional still. I love Argentina. I'm definitely, going to be supporting S11 Gaming because, Messi. But no. But yeah, I do feel like S11 Gaming are a bit too one-dimensional in the way they play. If they don't get that snowball, they really struggle, especially in the late game. And I think in the World Championship, you need that. You need to be able to play in any stage, right? You can't just be a one-dimensional snowball early game, win game strategy team, okay? So we're going to put S11 here. We're going to move to MDH now. So MDH. Wait, let me just put this. I don't know why I put the other Valley logo, but okay. Now it's MDH. Okay. So for MDH, Vietnam, I also was able to actually watch them play at ISF. I believe Vietnam might be weaker than S11 Gaming. Why? Is because they are one-dimensional, very one-dimensional too, similar to S11 Gaming, but it's the opposite. They play for the late game. S11 Gaming plays for the early game. They look for snowball. Meanwhile, MDH Esports, they look to play towards that late game. They buy their time, they farm up, and they turtle up in their base, looking just for trades. Up until their Sicilian stacks or whatever hero that's meta currently, they can really take them to win in that late game. That's every single game that I've seen them win and lose at ISF, right? Well, technically, they did win very, very, very fast, technically, against Namibia in ISF, but I don't think we can count that game in. Every other game, they've always just been playing in that late game towards a later stage. So honestly, I think, I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to have to put MDH Esports here at C tier. Yeah. Next on the list, we're going to be talking about, Occupy Thrones. Okay, Occupy Thrones. Now, this team is from MENA. I think MENA is still very developing. It's still like they're still developing, right? It's still very one-dimensional in my opinion, and it's very similar to MDH Esports. They just wait for enemy mistakes. And for me, I'm sorry, but I gotta put them at C, man. That's just my feeling right now. I don't see I don't see Occupy Thrones being a massive threat for any of these teams at the top. So we're gonna put them at C. Incendio Supremacy. I think Turkey had a pretty impressive performance actually last time at M3, right? Bedell almost beat Evos SG. That was crazy. The fact that they were able to play that well. And I think Incendio Supremacy has to be better than Bedell, right? Looking at that, I'll actually put them at C, but it's definitely going to be a high C because of Bedell's performance and because of Incendio Supremacy. I think even though, again, I haven't really seen a lot of their games. Most of their games have been... I think they are a bit better, though, the way that they can play, because I think their early game is not bad. Their late game isn't bad as well. They're a very solid team in that department. Like, they're not too one-dimensional into one, but I feel like they're a jack of all trades, but master of none currently. So we'll see. They're going to have to adapt really well to be able to go up against the B tiers, B teams here. But I think C suits them well. Burn X Flash is the next team that we have, which I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was pretty disappointed in Burn X Flash. I was expecting a lot from them, especially after winning MPL Cambodia in such a way where it was super hype. It was mostly just skirmishes in Cambodia. I thought this team would be a very good skirmish team, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we just didn't see that. We didn't see that happen, man. I will still say, though, that Burn X Flash here, I think if we were to put a team in the Dark Horse category, it's still going to be Burn X Flash. It's still going to be Cambodia, right? A lot of people have been discrediting them, especially after MPLI. I was not convinced during their MPLI performance because everyone was talking about this team, Coach Zico and Hesa being the main focus, right? Being the hype around this team. I think Coach Zico will definitely make adjustments to improve since they've already, I think for M4, they are going to be playing their main jungler. So that's a big plus already because in MPLI, I feel like the jungler's performance was not too good. So I think Burn X Flash deserve to be in the Dark Horse category. They deserve to be here because, hey, I think the other teams can't really be placed here because I got a pretty good understanding on all these teams. Next on the list is MVG. Malvinas Gaming, also an organization that has experience. We have seen a few of their players. If you guys don't remember this team, it was a team, the highlight player was definitely Adrian, the gold laner for this team back in M3. It was a solid gold laner, honestly. He was super young. He brought his mom over, and it was super wholesome. But this time, with no Adrian, they were still able to qualify, but I don't see them doing too good this tournament here. I might actually put them here. Above Occupy Thrones, but below Vietnam, below MDH. So there you go. I'll put Malvinas Gaming right there, and I will now move on over to Echo and Blacklist International. Ooh, remember how I said there was going to be two double S tier teams? Now, think about it, okay, guys? Right now, the meta is going to be around mostly around the roamer, right? The roamer really can dictate the match, especially these flashy roamers. And I think this M4, the matchup I'm looking forward to the most has to be Yaoi versus Keyboy. I think they are the two best roamers at M4 for this meta, for this patch, okay? I think both of these roamers are world-class and they're the best. And looking at the team that's backing Yaoi with Carl Teasy, with Sanford, man. Oh, this is a pretty disgusting team, to be honest, with Benny QT as well. And then Sanji. Yeah, this is double S tier. This is the next double S tier team, man. My bad. I tapped on the wrong button, but you should. There you go. I think Echo are the second double S tier team, and I'll put Blacklist there on S tier. I don't think Blacklists are going to be in double S. Why? Because of the changes towards the whole thing. I think Wise is going to be struggling a bit in the jungle right now. The tanks certainly can still work. The utility junglers can still work, but with these assassins being really, really prio, well, not technically prio, but really good, the backline being so vulnerable. We've seen this in the past. Blacklist at ISF struggled heavily up against teams who can really dive into the backline, up against the Gushin, up against the Yuzong. Now that the Lapu is super meta, now that the assassins can be picked again, can be played again, they're going to have a hard time if they still stick to that Haji on the Farsa or the Yve. those type of heroes, the high ground heroes, and Oheb on, again, the backliners, right? Like the Leslie. So I think Blacklist certainly can still be a double S tier team, guys. But they are going to have to make adaptations. Now, we'll see if they are going to be able to make those adaptations happen, if they are going to be able to learn fast enough before M4 starts. But this is the current power rankings for me, Mirko, currently, okay? Yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and obviously this is a tier list that I made, right? It's based on my opinion, it's based on what I've been hearing from my sources. So if you guys disagree, you're welcome to. Please do comment down below on what you think is going to happen. If you guys agree on where I place these teams, what you guys would change if you saw this tier list, you know, if you're seeing it right now, what do you want to change? Like anything you want to tell me, please do let me know in the comments. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel because there's going to be a player rankings video, then a group stage prediction video. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.